They respond to nearly 300 false alarms every year, each taking about 30 minutes to investigate. Absolutely, Karina, they're taking this very seriously, and all these sandbags you see right here being prepared by the Santa Barbara Bucket Brigade, and they've been filling, they say, hundreds of bags or video doorbells like this ring. Well, now the Arroyo Grande Police Department is asking for people with these devices to sign up. Or you could also take a ride on the carousel during the parade. We got the wave. Woo! We have lots of helpers here for our toys. So you come here to get coins to feed those machines. Well, in these recent break-ins, police tell me that these thieves aren't stealing bills and they aren't stealing your clothes. They're stealing quarters. Oh my God. Dramatic video taken by a Shell gas station employee shows citizens restraining Amber Alert suspect, 24-year-old Victor Magana, until authorities could arrest him. Al Ashcroft, visiting the Central Coast from Oregon, saw the Amber Alert Monday morning about a 2-year-old girl who was taken by her father, Magana, after he allegedly assaulted and stabbed the girl's mother. A few minutes later, Ashcroft spotted the 2007 light green Hyundai Santa Fe right in front of him.
Told my wife, get out, I'm gonna block this guy in. And so I moved the car and blocked him in.
He called 911, and nearby men helped restrain the driver.
4 of us just kind of surrounded him and said, you're not leaving.
You can then see Magana repeatedly trying to smash his window with a rock.
You're not getting stopped.
Deputies say he locked his keys inside the car with the child while making a pit stop in Cambria.
My boss came out and really held him and kept him here.
Witnesses say Magana bought snacks at the store and tried to break into his car to feed his daughter.
He was screaming that he wasn't that guy, that it wasn't him, and his daughter hadn't eaten in 6 hours.
The whole time, the little girl strapped in the front seat.
But she looked at me and smiled, and I thought, okay, she's okay.
Many are praising the people who stepped up to save her.
They were very brave and heroes.
This is a Christian Lassen painting, a limited edition. So we have the painting, the signature, and the number of the limited edition.
When this man brought in his high-dollar art to Timeless Treasures Home Consignments in San Luis Obispo, he expected to strike gold. Instead, the transaction left Milton Davis without a penny or a painting. Now it appears his options for collecting his nearly $300 in cash are drying up.
We are closed for our moves now from Tuesday through May 15th.
The recording on Timeless Treasures voicemail informs callers the shop will reopen. It comes after the landlord evicted Timeless Treasures owner Andrea Bowengartner in May for owing more than $40,000 in back rent.
When the store did not reopen is when I started to get antsy about it.
Each consignor signed a contract. Now, in that contract, it says that your item is held for 60 days. For example, if you brought in your item into the store January 1st, it would stay there until March 1st. If it hasn't sold after the 60 days, then you have 15 days to pick it up from the store. So in this case, still, you'd have to pick it up by March 16th. If you don't pick it up after the 15 days, then it becomes the property of Timeless Treasures, and they can sell or donate it at their discretion. Davis is one of several people who took to social media to see if others felt left in the dark.
Where they were, if they had been lost in the mail, or asking about why their check bounced.
Former employee Ann Walker says she could not answer those questions about consignor checks. She quit, she says, after going several weeks without pay.
It built up until there was 3.5 months of back pay.
After she quit, Walker says she did get paychecks from her boss, but each one bounced.
It became very clear that I wasn't going to get the money from her in that way, even though I held out hope that I would be. So I knew I needed to seek legal action in some way.
Walker has a pending complaint with the state of California's Labor Commission. In the bankruptcy filing, Bowengartner names more than 50 companies, agencies, and people she owes money to. This man is no longer one of them.
I acted early on. I felt like if I didn't take the action to collect my money while her business was open, then I was never going to get my money.
Former Timeless Treasure investor John Doherty says he put $16,000 into the business. 2 years, 2 lawsuits, and several court dates later, he got 10 grand back. Court documents obtained by KSBY News show Bowen Gardner is now filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Doherty calls it a delay tactic to paying her debts.
What makes this different than our traditional or sort of typical consumer complaint is the number of complainants.
San Luis Obispo County Assistant District Attorney Eric Dobroth confirms the state has charged Bowen Gardner with 2 felonies and 1 misdemeanor count for writing bad checks.
We're incorporating the non-sufficient fund aspect into the investigation, but primarily it's folks didn't get their items back and folks didn't get their money.
But this isn't the first time Bowen Gardner's been called into court. Allegations of financial and legal misconduct go back nearly 2 decades.
There's a high likelihood that similar conduct has occurred in other jurisdictions.
In 2005, Bowen Gardner owned a pair of consignment stores called The Wood Shop in Northern California. A Sacramento man, Aaron Parker, still remembers doing business with her back then, sharing what has become a familiar story.
We heard nothing from the store, from the other store. Then I got really nervous and I went to that facility, and then they were closed as well and they were empty. And there was no sign on the door this time. They were just gone.
The bankruptcy court filing we obtained shows Bowen Gardner's debt adds up to nearly $370,000. Angry and empty-handed, these people say it's about time for timeless treasures to pay the price.
Oh, I'm forever grateful. They gave me back my life.
Tom Martin and his wife Candy have sat in these seats watching Cal Poly men's basketball for 16 years. But during a game a few weeks ago, Tom's heart suddenly stopped.
I was watching the game, and the next thing I know, I was looking up at an EMT.
Fans jumped in and started CPR with an AED almost immediately. Among those bystanders was Louis Farah, an off-duty Lompoc firefighter.
You're talking about literally saving somebody's life. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more surreal. He's going to a basketball game just a couple weeks later. There's no greater feeling than that.
First thing he said was, did we win? They took him in the gurney and he waved like this and he said, "Go Polly," and everybody had a standing ovation.
Candy says it was horrifying to see her husband like that, but says if the game didn't go into overtime, help wouldn't have come in time.
We would have been in the parking lot or right here. We leave right after a game, and it wasn't.
Because they started the CPR so early, the blood flow kept going to my brain, and other than a sore chest and a new set of jumper cables implanted in me, I'm fine.
Now, Tom walks away with a defibrillator and a positive attitude.
If you're going to have any kind of heart situation, have it at the Cal Poly basketball game, because the response was phenomenal.